Hey there, YTPC. It's your boy Cosmo, Cat Dad Piper. Smoking my Savinelli Bing's favorite right now. And not going to tell you what I'm smoking in it because I'm in the process of working on my updated top 5 tobaccos list. Hope to record that tomorrow. So, as you may have seen by the thumbnail, this weekend my oldest, the queen of the house, Lady Sadie, passed away. I figure she is 14 years old. And found where she had taken her final nap under the bed yesterday. And this afternoon, smoking buddy Matt came over and helped me put her to rest. So thanks a lot, Matt. Thought I'd just share a little bit about her. Tell you some stories, kind of who she was. So, the second cat I ever had was a tuxedo named Sam, who's probably one of the greatest cats I've ever known. After having him for some time, decided he needed a friend, and we had went through about 3 cats that unfortunately had ailments and didn't live very long. And then my mom said, we haven't had very good luck with male cats. Sam had to go through multiple occasions having severe IBS. So she's like, the next cat we're getting is going to be a female. So we went down to the local humane society to check out cats, and most of them at the time were boys. But there were these 2 female cats that were stray. Both tortoise shells, looked about the same. So my mom's like, well, these are girls, let's check them out. And there's this little cute, fluffy white one that I wanted because even though he was a boy, he was adorable. But these 2 girl cats, they had been found alongside a country road, and they were still kittens, so their heads were huge, their ears were huge, they were tortoise shell, and they were malnourished, so you could see their rib cage. And I thought they were butt ugly. You know, it reminded me, gremlins after they ate after midnight and got exposed to sunlight and got wet. It looked like the evil gremlins. Didn't look like Gizmo, so I didn't want to have anything to do with it, but picked up the first one and it was nice, but it was cuddly and Mom was holding her. And but then it started trying to steal Mom's gold earring. And we picked the other one up. And she was equally as cuddly, but started purring instantly. But we went with her because she didn't try to steal jewelry. And that girl was Sadie. So we got her home, and I named her Sadie after a movie that came out earlier in the year they absolutely loved, Across the Universe, which is a musical that was made using only Beatles songs. And in the movie, Sadie was this character who was she was kind of like a Janis Joplin, kind of this free spirit, and so that's why we came up with the name Sadie. And fattened her up a little and she became best friends with Sam. But she was a bit of a mama's cat. Oftentimes, at night, my mom would sleep on this big overstuffed chair with an ottoman, and she'd put her feet up on the ottoman and cover up with a blanket. And Sadie would hop up and lay between her legs in the gap between the chair and the stool, kind of like a hammock. And it hit her hard when Mom passed away, but she was there for me. She consoled me. She would use her... She liked to lick my cheek here, which I enjoyed that she was affectionate, but her tongue was like coarse sandpaper. And if I hadn't shaved in a couple days, man, it almost hurt. She was a shy cat. Very few people besides my dad, my mother, and myself have really seen her in person. She's one that if friends who have come over multiple times and played cards with her or something, as soon as she heard somebody at the door, she'd go running and hide under a bed. And maybe 5 or 10 minutes after they left, she'd come out happy and be like, "Where'd everybody go?" But a lot of times if I'd go over to my dad's, we'd sit down on the couch. She'd come up and lay on my chest and cuddle, and I'd be petting her. And I'll tell you, between her purring and whatever magical pixie dust was in her hair, usually within about 10 minutes I'd be asleep. There'd be times where I'd be asleep but still petting her. I'd wake up and realize she had left 5 minutes ago and I was still just petting the air. Shortly after Sam passed away, we decided to get another kitten. That's where my oldest boy, Marty, came along. We should have named him Tasmanian Devil because he was a crazy man. And after a while, figured out that Marty's what we call our special boy. He's not the most intelligent cat sometimes, and really has no concern for his own safety. Well, Sadie and Marty got along, but he would always want to play with her and torment her, and her being an older cat at that point, she wouldn't have none of that. She'd usually hide underneath the coffee table or just like get on top of the couch and lay across the top of the couch. We're about once or twice a year, and usually on a Sunday afternoon, when Marty wasn't doing anything, Sadie would just finally be like, "I've had enough, it's payback time." So she'd sit in the middle of the living room floor, and Marty'd go to walk by her, and she'd just whack him in the head. And he'd kind of do a double take, like, what was that for? And then all of a sudden, Marty would start slowly walking around, making a perimeter around her. And the entire time, Sadie just stared at him, turned her head slowly like an owl. just staring and watching him. She was my sweetheart, though. Called her our queen, called her Lady Sadie. Just the most affectionate, loving cat that anybody could ask for. She comforted me again a few years ago when my father passed away. And I kept Marty and Sadie at Dad's house until I got things in order. Then I brought them back one at a time. Marty first. Let Sadie have the house to her space. The house to herself. Got Marty introduced to my twin boys, Jake and Elwood. Blues Brothers. They really are twins. Most people can't tell them apart. I can because they're my babies, but... Brought Sadie over. And, of course, she wasn't having it. She spent probably 80% of the time hanging out in my bedroom. And, every once in a while she'd make her presence known and meow, and I told her not to do that because it'd alert the boys, and they'd come running and they'd want to come after her and torment her and harass her, and she'd kind of growl and give a little hiss, but when she got really tormented, she'd crawl underneath my dresser and not say a peep. I was afraid she actually passed away last fall because she's a good hider and I couldn't find her. Eventually, that's when I found that she likes to hide underneath the dresser. Well, it took about 2 weeks for her to come out from under there for anything besides the litter. I'd have to put food down by there and tuck it under so the boys wouldn't get at it. But then after that passed, she decided that she liked to lay on my nightstand by the window, right beside the touch lamp. And more recently, she's been laying between the touch lamp and the window, and she can look out onto the deck. Oftentimes when I was laying in bed watching a movie on my iPad, she'd come lay up on the pillow beside me and I'd pet her and cuddle, and she's the one that could cuddle all day if you let her. This winter, after being in the hospital for 5 weeks, I got set up with the CPAP machine. Now, Marty could care less about it. Jake and Elwood, they pretty much leave the room and then come into bed in the morning as soon as it's turned off. But Sadie's approach is I'd put on the mask, and she knew that was her cue to come cuddle. and she'd lay half of her body across my chest. And then she'd take her nose and try to nudge up underneath the mask as if trying to get it off. And I'd reassure her, I'd be like, it's alright, Sadie. Daddy needs to wear this, it's okay. And then she'd settle and kind of tuck herself in, and it seems like she'd lay there just enough for me to fall asleep at night, and would be back at her window by morning when I woke up. I knew she was getting up there in age, and over the past several months, probably past several months, I noticed she was getting thinner, losing some weight, so I knew that the time would come for her to pass eventually. And about a week and a half ago, I have a separate bowl of food up on the nightstand for her, and a lot of times I have to shoo Jake or Marty away because they think it's a free buffet. But I noticed last week I wasn't filling the bowl every couple days like I normally would. So knew she probably wasn't eating, or so very little. So if you have any experience with cats, you know that when they get older and start losing weight and then stop eating for a few days, that's probably not a good sign. So this past week she went into hiding, and I thought she went under her dresser. She sometimes goes under the foot of the bed. There's like a little crawl space between the bed frame. Every once in a while I'd hear a little meow or a little howl. The howl was when the boys got close. Or I'd be laying in bed and I could hear a little snore from her. I don't know if she had seasonal allergies like me or what, but she'd snore. You know you love somebody when their snore is adorable. And past several days I hadn't heard a peep from her. Couldn't tell if she was eating any of the food, because even though I'd tuck it underneath the dresser, the boys would pull it out and try to eat it. And Thursday night, and then when I came home from coffee yesterday, I knew that because Marty was being super affectionate, which he's an affectionate cat anyways, but I couldn't get him off of me yesterday. I knew she had probably passed. So I went into my room, moved a couple things around, pulled out my dresser, and she wasn't there. And I knew she didn't really leave the room too much. So then I laid on top of my bed and pulled my head over the edge and looked under. I didn't see her there. There was only a little bit of a crawl space for a cat, not even for a human. little hideaway, and she'd sometimes go there. And the bed frame's made out of 4x4s with the little sides on the end, and I took my camera phone down there, looked under, didn't see her there. But then I saw there was a tear in the fabric in the bottom of the box spring. I thought, oh my god, she crawled up into the box spring and is dead. I was about ready to get a knife and cut into the box spring fabric so I could try to find her. Or, because the bed's super heavy. And, sorry, pipe's getting a little warm. So I bent over the bed a little bit more to where I was basically doing a handstand and felt around, and right inside the corner pocket of the frame I felt her fur. So I kind of reached under, I pulled her out, and she was gone. She was stiff. But I could tell the way she was curled up and the way her head was laying that she died peacefully. She just curled up, took a nap, and that was it. And I lived there for a second. Luckily there wasn't any detectable odor or anything until I tried to pick her up, and I lay there for about 10 minutes and just pet her one last time. Told her I love her, and thank you for being such an awesome cat. Thank you for consoling me when I needed it. She was my comfort cat. She was my Linus blanket. And just took some time to say goodbye. I found a nice sized little Amazon box. Found a clean old towel. Laid it in and put her in there, and took her outside and put her in safekeeping in the garage till today. And then Matt came over this morning and dug the hole and got her laid to rest. I ordered a little resin or concrete, I don't know what it is, a little lawn ornament from Amazon last night. That's going to go on top where she's laid. She's buried on the back of my house behind the family room with between two plants. It's like a little raised garden box area. So she's safe now. And the ornament I got has like 4 small chimes that hang from it. So when I'm sitting out on the deck and having a smoke and a breeze comes by, I'll be able to hear those chimes and know that that's my lady. So I'll be able to see it whenever I come in from the garage, or whenever I go somewhere and drive down the alley, I can look down and see her. And so I'm now a cat dad to 3 boys. So it's just a bunch of bachelors in the house now. I may get another cat at the same time, but 3 is more than enough. But they may get a kitty friend at some point. I don't know. I'm not looking anytime soon. I want to get some other affairs in order and get prepared to have a wild youthling in the house again. Youthling? Youngling, maybe that's the word. So, sorry if I'm being a bummer, but this video is really just more to celebrate Sadie and her life and all she's done for me, and, you know, let you guys know all about her. But she really was one of the good ones. Amazing cat. So, Lady Sadie, I'll miss you, love, but you'll always be with me in my heart. So, anyways, as always, and I do appreciate it, thanks for watching. I might sit out here, have another pipe, and enjoy it, relax. As always, God bless. And count your blessings. We'll see you soon. Bye.